Let me say something that every bank, every credit card company, and every financial influencer trying to sell you a credit repair course does not want you to hear. Your credit score is not a measure of your wealth. It is not a measure of your financial intelligence. It is not a measure of how well you are doing. And in 2026, for a growing number of Americans, a high credit score is actually a signal that you are caught in exactly the kind of debt cycle that makes other people rich, just not you. I know that sounds backwards. You have been told your whole life that a good credit score is the foundation of financial health. Pay on time. Keep your utilization low. Do not close old accounts. Protect that number like it is your financial GPA. But here is the question nobody asks. Wealthy on paper, or actually wealthy? Because those are two very different things. And the system that measures one was never designed to create the other. The score was not built for you. Here is something most people do not know about where the FICO score actually came from. The Fair Isaac Corporation introduced the FICO score in 1989, not to help consumers build wealth, to help lenders assess the probability of repayment. The score was built by lenders, funded by lenders, and calibrated to serve the needs of lenders. Every single factor in your credit score, payment history, utilization ratio, length of credit history, credit mix, new inquiries, measures one thing and one thing only: how reliably you will repay debt to a financial institution. It does not measure your net worth. It does not measure your savings rate. It does not measure your investment portfolio. It does not measure whether you are building actual generational wealth or just reliably servicing someone else's balance sheet. A person with $800,000 in index funds, no debt, and no active credit lines can have a mediocre credit score. A person with 6 credit cards, a car loan, a personal loan, and a mortgage, all paid on time, can have an 800. The system rewards engagement with debt, not independence from it. That is not an accident. That is the design. The trap that looks like responsibility. Here is where it gets personal. And I want you to really sit with this one. The average American with a credit score above 750 carries approximately $8,500 in credit card debt, according to Experian's 2024 Consumer Credit Review. Not because they are irresponsible, because maintaining a high score requires active credit usage. You have to keep accounts open. You have to keep utilization visible. You have to keep the debt relationship alive. The score essentially requires you to stay in the game. And the game has a cost. The Federal Reserve reported that in 2024, the average credit card interest rate in the United States hit 21.5%, the highest recorded level in modern history. 21.5%. On revolving balances that millions of Americans carry specifically to keep their credit profiles active and healthy. Think about what that actually means in dollars. If you carry $8,500 in credit card debt at 21.5% interest and make consistent payments over time, you are paying roughly $1,800 per year in interest alone. Not reducing debt, not building wealth, just paying for the privilege of having a number that makes lenders comfortable lending you more money at 21.5% interest. That $1,800 per year invested in a broad market index fund at historical average returns would grow to over $52,000 in 20 years. You are not managing debt. You are trading your future wealth for a score that was never designed to make you wealthy. The opportunity cost nobody calculates. This is the part of the credit score conversation that almost nobody on YouTube is having. And it is the most important part. Every dollar you spend servicing debt to maintain your credit profile is a dollar that is not compounding for you somewhere else. Economists call this opportunity cost. And in the context of credit scores, the opportunity cost is staggering. Let us run the actual math. The average American spends $1,200 per year on minimum payments and interest across their credit accounts while maintaining a good credit profile. That is the conservative estimate from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's 2023 Household Debt Report. $1,200 per year. Redirected entirely into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund starting at age 30. By age 60, at historical average market returns of roughly 10% annually, that $1,200 per year becomes approximately $197,000. Nearly $200,000. From $100 per month that you are currently handing to a creditor so that your score stays above 720. Now multiply that by the people who are carrying $300, $500, $800 per month in debt service payments to maintain their credit standing. The opportunity cost becomes life-altering, retirement-altering, generational-altering. And the most painful part is that the people doing this are not financially reckless. They are following the advice. They are doing what they were told was responsible. They are protecting their score. And the score is costing them a fortune. The middle-class ceiling. There is a pattern that wealth researchers have documented consistently across income levels that almost never gets discussed in mainstream personal finance content. People with high credit scores and moderate incomes tend to use that credit access to upgrade their lifestyle rather than their asset base. A higher score unlocks a better car loan, a bigger mortgage, a higher credit limit, and each of those unlocks feels like progress, because in the credit score system, they are progress. But a car is a depreciating asset. A mortgage on a house you cannot comfortably afford without the income that depends on your continued employment is a liability with a really nice kitchen. And a higher credit limit is not wealth. It is potential debt waiting for a moment of weakness. Meanwhile, the genuinely wealthy, the people in the top 1% of net worth, have a fundamentally different relationship with credit. A 2023 Federal Reserve survey of consumer finances found that the wealthiest Americans carry the lowest revolving debt relative to assets of any income group. They use credit strategically and sparingly. They are not optimizing for a score. They are optimizing for asset accumulation. The credit score system is brilliant at keeping middle-income earners focused on the wrong metric. And as long as you are focused on the wrong metric, you cannot optimize for the right one. What actually builds wealth in 2026? So what is the alternative? Because this is not a video about destroying your credit or defaulting on your obligations. That would create real and serious financial harm, and I am not going to tell you to do that. This is a video about where your focus and your capital actually belong. The shift is from being creditworthy to being asset-heavy. Creditworthy means a third-party institution has assessed that you reliably repay debt. That is a useful thing to be. It is not a wealth-building strategy. Asset-heavy means your net worth is composed of things that appreciate, generate income, or both. Index funds, real estate that cash flows, a business, skills that command increasing income. These are the building blocks of actual financial independence. The practical shift looks like this. Stop optimizing your financial behavior around what improves your credit score and start optimizing it around what improves your net worth. Those two things are not always aligned. In fact, they are frequently in direct conflict. Pay down high-interest debt aggressively, not to protect your score, but because 21.5% interest is a guaranteed negative return on your money that no investment can reliably beat. Once the high-interest debt is gone, redirect that cash flow into assets. Build an emergency fund that reduces your dependence on credit entirely. And stop opening new credit products to diversify your credit mix unless there is a specific strategic reason that directly benefits your financial position. You do not need an 800 credit score to build wealth. You need a positive net worth trajectory, a growing asset base, and a cash flow that increasingly does not depend on employer approval or lender approval to sustain your life. The honest reality. Credit scores are not evil. They serve a real function in the financial system, and there are legitimate reasons to maintain a decent score, particularly for major purchases like a home, where the interest rate difference between a 650 and a 780 can save you tens of thousands of dollars over a mortgage term. But there is an enormous difference between maintaining a functional credit profile as one tool in your financial life and allowing your credit score to become the primary metric by which you measure your financial success. One is strategy. The other is a trap. The financial system will keep telling you that your score is the most important number in your financial life. Because the financial system profits every single time you believe that and act on it. The most important number in your financial life is your net worth. The gap between what you own and what you owe. That is the number that determines whether you are actually building something or just reliably maintaining someone else's. Choose the number that works for you.